Hey, it's me. So, I was thinking about dating, and I was also thinking about what people look for in partners and how some people, their requirements, it can depend because sometimes as time goes on, your list it can get shorter, while for other people, it gets longer and maybe a little bit unrealistic. So, for women, it can often look like I want a man that's 6'1", who makes six figures, who has a six pack, who's socially popular, who has never been married. And then for men, it may be something like I want a woman that's all natural, who wears no makeup. Or maybe the opposite. You want a woman who dresses up. You want a woman that's a certain weight. You want to make sure that she's a short height. You want her to have long hair. You want her to be younger than you. You don't want her to have any kids. You don't want her to have any debt. Probably sounds a little familiar. So, women tend to care more about height, and men tend to care more about weight. And of course, this isn't everyone because everyone has their own preferences and they're different. And there is nothing wrong with having preferences because that's what you want. And you're fine to have a preference of what you want. But that's what it should be, a preference, not a requirement. All of those things are admittedly nice, but depending on your age, it's probably harder to find someone who doesn't have kids, who has never been married, or doesn't have any debt. Now, you should have your non negotiables, the things that you would not want and would not accept in a partner that's just essentially a deal breaker for you, something you just would not negotiate on. But when you're looking for the right person, you should also be looking for values. Are they kind, caring, considerate? Am I compatible with them? Do we have a connection? Do we have good chemistry? Are we able to communicate well? I think sometimes we get so caught up in looking for this perfect partner, but the reality is there is no perfect partner. You are not going to find 100% of what you want. And if you aren't willing to date a man who is under 6'1" or date a woman who has short hair, you might block your blessing. Because realistically, do you think that you are 100% of what someone else wants in a partner? So what that actually reminds me of, it reminds me of this episode of The Love Hour. If you haven't heard it, it's a great podcast. Miss Kev on Stage. It's on YouTube. I completely recommend it. But on one episode, they spoke about how can we expect someone to be everything that we want when we aren't everything that we want within ourselves. We still have a level of growth in things that we want to achieve and become. So if you do want this perfect partner, you have an unrealistic standard, and oftentimes it's superficial and it really doesn't serve finding a long-lasting relationship. Now, if you're just here for a good time and not a long time, that's a different subject. But if you are looking for a long-term, lasting relationship, marriage, partner, lifetime, then looking for those superficial things, it's kind of self-serving. And a relationship really should be about two people and what you can offer each other, not only about someone meeting your needs. And that kind of goes in turn with the prize mindset. And there is nothing wrong with thinking that you are a prize. Nothing wrong with knowing what you want and what you have to offer. And what you have to offer should not be surface level values, and it should not be superficial things. I think it's better to think of it as instead of you being the prize, you are the purpose. You are the purpose in your partner's growth. You are the purpose in your partner's sense of joy. You are the purpose in your partner's sense of trust, or helping them gain the ability of trust, or feel like they can trust someone again. It should be more than just a pretty prize, but the purpose, because ultimately you help each other expand into where you should be. So while you are out looking for your potential partners, think of the purpose that you would bring to the relationship and what they can bring to you. Because more than likely, you will find perfection in their imperfections. And what may seem like an imperfect partner, in reality, can become a purposeful relationship. Anyways, these are just my random thoughts.